Formula One on ITV, sponsored by Toyota.
Hi, this is Arnold Schwarzenegger. Watch the British Grand Prix on ITV when I'll be back.
Here's Rubens Barrichello. He threw it off the road yesterday in first qualifying, but he's certainly done the business here today. Is this going to take pole? Yes, it does. We've got a Ferrari on pole, but it's not the one we expected. Celebrations for Rubens Barrichello. What a great position he's in.
I've been close so many times in Silverstone. It is a track that I go very well. I hope we can have a good show, a good start, and off I go.
And for once, Rubens Barrichello overshadowed his teammate. 4 different constructors filling the front rows. Welcome to race day at the Foster's British Grand Prix. Hello there, good afternoon to you all. Very powerful start to our programme. We all hope he will be back soon. Arnold Schwarzenegger, he's made it safely into Silverstone. The overall impression is the new access arrangements have been working very well, despite a few isolated problems. Weather check for you, a few clouds in the air, as you can see. Temperature 19 degrees, but it's dry at the moment. Now, a story has just broken here, literally in the last couple of moments. Details are a little bit sketchy, but we understand that Bernie Ecclestone wants to speed things up with the improvements of Silverstone. You will remember that the Silverstone date is not actually fixed in the Formula One diary. He wants to speed things up. He has been putting a bit of pressure on the British Racing Drivers Club, but we will be developing that story throughout the afternoon. Let me just tell you what's in store in our pre-race show, though. Yeah, he is here. He's promised to drop in. We'll be clearing the decks in the ITV F1 studio for Arnold Schwarzenegger. Louise Goodman's on board the Drivers' Parade. Can the British quartet make an impression? And our Mark Blundell, has just been round Silverstone in one of the Bentleys that conquered Le Mans.
That's number 1.
There's Lawrence Dallaglio deserting the rugby scrum and getting his hands dirty in the Jordan factory. Lots of familiar faces around, and we'll be mingling with them as well. A couple of familiar faces alongside me, Mark Blundell and Tony Jardine. Tony, what are your impressions of that story that's breaking here at the moment with Bernie Ecclestone?
Well, I think it's about pressure. I think it's about pressure for the other part of the government funding that maybe could be diverted into Silverstone to help develop the third phase. But as far as everybody's concerned, the majority, phase 2 has been accomplished. Phase 3, of course, is the new pits complex and the pit and garages and the new press office in the middle.
There's been a huge amount done here already, Mark. I guess the question is how quickly can things be done to satisfy the likes of Mr. Ecclestone?
Well, time, is a big factor, obviously, but there's already been millions and millions of pounds poured into this place. It is a good facility, it is improving. But, as a former F1 driver, I've got to say, we cannot afford to lose a British Grand Prix. And let's not forget one thing, this is the second biggest car market in the world, Britain.
OK, thank you both. As I say, we will develop that story throughout the afternoon. Let's just reflect on qualifying too, shall we, first of all, Tony? And a bit of a racing rarity, or a mistake from Michael Schumacher.
Surely not some sort of a mistake from Michael Schumacher, but yeah, they've done a fantastic amount of work to this car. They've been more bows. Look at this, coming out of Abbey, over on the grass. Reaction there from the team, but they've also worked on their traction control, which must have helped him get out of jail there. This was only good enough for 5th place, but nonetheless expect Ferrari to be fighting hard this afternoon for a win.
What a strange couple of days for Rubens Barrichello. Spun off, didn't register a time on the Friday, and Saturday, pole position. How do you explain that?
Well, I mean, obviously they've done a lot of testing, they've got good data in there. Yeah, they didn't have that first day because there was a bit of a mistake there for Rubens. But you have to say, he went out very early on there in the session, second guy out, and he put it all together. I think he had the benefit of the best track conditions in that qualifying session. Very smooth driving at the minute. He loves Silverstone. He's always been quicker. I've raced against a guy here in Grand Prix and lower formulas. He's always been a quick driver around this place.
Absolutely. He was on pole here 3 years ago. Let's have a look at two of the youngish guns. Kimi Raikkonen, who led the championship for a while, and Jarno Trulli, who's put himself on the front row, Tony.
Well, Kimi went and changed out of his racing overalls because he didn't think he'd be anywhere near the top 5, let alone the top 3, which is where he ended up. So he had to rapidly change back into his overalls and do the top 3. Jarno Trulli was actually quite taken aback that he got onto the front row. We weren't that surprised because the revisions they've made to the aerodynamics of this car, updates to the engine, etc. He's done what he did in Malaysia and put it on the front row.
And lots of support for Jarno Trulli from the Enston factory where Renault are based. Lots of support from the BAR factory at Bracknell as well for Jenson Button. But Jenson will start in last place because of an error, and he bashed his suspension in, didn't he?
Yeah, basically he just went a little bit wide. Just watch it here, look, that left-hand front wheel takes an impact on the curb. A little bit of a tricky angle for it because it's just broken the push rod. That suspension component there should be able to withstand that, but if you just hit at the wrong angle, that's the end of the day. A lot of people there scratching heads. Shouldn't happen. Did happen. He's going to start from the back of the grid, but he can make a big impression today if he drives nicely.
You really think he can?
Yeah, he can. He's got the crowd behind him. He's going to start at the back of the grid. He's got nothing to lose. He's just got to go out there, head down, get on with it. He could have a result.
David Coulthard will start 12th. He won from 11th on the grid in Australia. Let's hope for a Melbourne replay, shall we?
Well, I think DC's a little bit concerned that he's too far down the pack to make a big impression. But at the same point, a little bit like Jenson, he can make something out of this race. He needs to go in and collect some valuable points. Not what he wants to do. He doesn't want to be qualifying that low down. He's a little bit off what Kimi did as well. That's all going to be in the back of his head. But British Grand Prix time, it'll all get out.
Let's hope so. Tony, it has to be one of the strangest grids of F1 2003. Chat us through it.
Oh, Rubens Barrichello was on pole here in 2000. He said Silverstone's always been kind to him. Will that happen today? Alongside him, Jarno Trulli. Can he get a podium finally in the Renault? Kimi Raikkonen, he put the right time in it, at the right time in the McLaren to go third. Unaccustomed 4th place for Ralf Schumacher, but he said we are ready with the Williams team. Michael Schumacher, he's down in 5th place, but he could go for his 3rd British Grand Prix win. D'Amato, that's a record, his best at Toyota so far, and he did it in the spare car. Montoya, good car, then bad car for qualifying, but he's my dark horse from 7th place. 8th, Alonso, loose rear end on the Renault. Then we have Villeneuve. He's got a very good car. He's in good shape in 9th place. Let's hope so for his sake. Pitsonia out-qualified Webber. Webber said, not a good lap from me around Silverstone. There's Coulthard. Bad car gave him a bad lap down in 12th position. Then Panis, huge oversteer in the last sector. He's down in 13th place. Frentzen beat Heidfeld, his younger teammate. Fisichella, a good lap, but not good enough down there in 15th place. Then we have Furman, looking forward to his first British Grand Prix, wants to finish that. So does Justin Wilson, another British Grand Prix rookie, but ahead of his teammate, Jos Verstappen, the Dutchman. Button, will he fill up the BAR Honda in the pits and start from the pit lane?
Thank you very much indeed, Tony, to get the very latest thoughts from the drivers, especially that British quartet, Button, Coulthard, Furman and Wilson. Louise Goodman, join them on the Drivers' Parade.
Do you notice all the support when you're actually driving around?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's even on the qualifying lap yesterday and the slowing down, I could see, especially where we are now in Club, all the people out here. It was obviously a little bit quiet outside the pit area and the grandstands, but I got to say, I think the turnout today is fantastic.
It's certainly not quiet here. Have a good day.
Thanks very much.
Justin, you were just a little boy the first time you came here, weren't you? Actually, not that I can ever believe that you were little, but tell us about it.
Yeah, I used to watch the Grand Prix on the outside of Woodcote just before the finish line, and it was always very noisy, and as a kid I was fingers in my ears trying to watch. Since then, you dream of doing your home race.
Have a fantastic time this afternoon.
I'll be trying, thank you.
Does this remind you when you were a little lad and you used to come and stay in your caravan and watch the race?
Yeah, it does, but I was normally over there, not here.
Well, you're still in the caravan these days, aren't you? Slightly posher one.
Slightly posher, a little bit bigger.
You're a bit miserable when I spoke to you after qualifying, but is all of this putting a smile back on your face?
It's great to see so many people here, and it's hopefully we can put on a good show for them.
So how are you enjoying your first drivers' parade at Silverstone?
It's amazing. It's great to see so many people here. You know, there's a lot of cars and traffic on the way in, which is good to see.
I know we're probably a bit biased, but this is a very special track, isn't it?
It's an incredible track. You know, it's got such a history and character behind it, and it's still got the high-speed corners, which is really great to see. And you know, it's a very special event.
Get waving.
Give him a wave, Ralph. I'm not going to give this fellow a wave. I'm going to shake his hand and say welcome to the ITV F1 studio.
Thank you very much. Thank you. It's nice to be here.
Very nice to see you. And what do you think of the British Grand Prix so far, the environment around here? Did you get to the track all right, first of all? Because that's always been a problem over the past few years.
Yeah, we had no problem. We had a team of people that drove me up here from London, and they drove it several times, you know, the roads, off-roads, through farmland and all those kind of things. So we got here in time, and I was very happy that Mr. Eccleston has invited us here to come and watch a race like this, which is for the first time for me, and now to be here is really great.
Well, when Mr. Eccleston invites you, you know you've arrived.
That's right, yes. I feel now, finally, I'm 55 years old. Finally, I've arrived.
Listen, you come from Graz, don't you? And we go there. We go there every year for the Austrian Grand Prix. Right. Did you go to the old Österreich ring? Did you watch races around there?
I watched races, but only on television, or listened to it on radio, or read about it. But I mean, this is really been the first time that I've gotten that close, where I've been taken through the garages, where they put the cars together and put the wheels on it and all this stuff, and where you get a first-hand explanation about what the engines are all about and why the tires are a certain way and all those kind of things. So it was fantastic to really be there and to get to meet the racers and all that, the race car drivers.
You know, Arnie, I could get a little bit upset with you because you opened our show today, and when we went to Austria, you did exactly the same thing. Just have a look at what you did for us in Austria.
All right. For me, Styria is one of the most beautiful areas in the entire world. And let me tell you, I know what I'm talking about. Because I was born in Styria and I grew up there. I just love this area.
I said after that you love the place, but there's a doubt about the Austrian Grand Prix, whether we're going to be going back there next year.
Well, I hope you are, because I think that the Austrians love Grand Prix, they love the racing and all this stuff. I mean, you know, they themselves, as you know, there's just up until recently there was not even a speed limit on the highways there, so I think they love to race.
You've got your own football stadium named after you in Graz as well, the Arnold Schwarzenegger, and we've been there for Champions League games, particularly when Manchester United
Well, it was interesting enough, they had a weightlifting club in there many, many years ago and still do. And that's where I started with Olympic lifting first, and then went into powerlifting, and from that I went into bodybuilding. So really my career began at that stadium, at the Liebenauer Stadium, which is now called the Schwarzenegger Stadium.
Absolutely. What sort of driver are you really?
Well, before I had children, I was a reckless driver. Now, since I have children, you know, I don't get that many speeding tickets anymore. And now I'm much more cautious. Plus, I'm the kind of cars I'm driving now, which is like Hummer and vehicles, military vehicles that are much slower and much safer.
Yeah, I think Jaguar have said that they'll build you a special car if you fancy getting in one. Would you take the jump even at the age of 55?
Into racing or something like that? No, I think that I'm fine. I do enough reckless things between horseback riding, motorcycle riding, skiing, and all those kind of things. I think the insurance companies are going nuts with me because I do wipe out sometimes. I had, 3 months before we started Terminator 3, I had a motorcycle accident and I broke 6 ribs. So they don't like me to get involved in any of this racing stuff.
Well, we've got a little sequence from Terminator 3, and I'm very, very surprised you didn't break something during this. Let's have a look at it.
Okay, thank you. I'll drive. I always love that scene, but it also reminds me that's the scene where I tore my rotator cuff on my shoulder and had to have a surgery after the shooting of the movie.
Yeah, and your co-star Christiana, she is here as well, isn't she?
Christiana is here also, yeah, Christiana Loken, and she was fantastic. And a very interesting concept to have a female Terminator arrive.
She's strong. I've seen the movie. I was lucky enough to be in the States. She's stronger than you. You're the weakling.
Stronger, more sophisticated, faster, can produce weapons out of her hands and stuff like that, and has control over other machines. So she's a fierce competitor there.
Yeah, it's premiering in London tomorrow night. It's going all over the country in August, isn't it? And I think, is Mark Webber driving a Jaguar into Leicester Square or something like that tomorrow?
I think, yes, because we're doing this whole kind of cross-promotion with the Jaguar and Terminator. And the idea of it is, you know, these are the ultimate machines, those race cars, and Terminator is the ultimate machine, and to put the two together kind of thing, yeah.
I mean, we go to the United States, to Indianapolis for the Grand Prix. Now, when you become governor of California, you sort us out a Grand Prix in California, could you?
I will have one right there in Sacramento. Big Grand Prix. We work it out.
And I think there's just a final word on the movie. For me, you showed your soft side in the movie. Really, you went the ultimate killer, were you? And do you think we're likely to get an even softer version next time round?
Well, I mean, it's really interesting because the Terminator character has evolved, even though it's the same machine and the same model and all this stuff. But in the first one, I was kind of the Goliath character that just squished everything and wiped everything out. Now I'm with a David character that is a vulnerable character, even though the same power and all, but there's just better Terminators coming about, you know. They've built so many new Terminators, so they are much more powerful and faster. So it's kind of like a real tough kind of fights in a movie, and big battles, huge stunts and all that stuff.
And unless I missed it, I don't think Hasta la Vista, no, I'll be back. I think you say she'll be back in the movie.
She'll be back, but you know, the fans are the ones that drive this project. If they make this movie as successful as the last one was, which it looks like it will be, then I will be saying again, I'll be back.
You wouldn't just like to look down the camera and say that for us, would you?
Don't worry about anything. This has not been the first and the last of the races that I've watched. I'll be back to another Grand Prix. Trust me.
Thanks for your time. It's been a great pleasure.
Thank you.
You could fly one of those for us if you wanted, Arnie. Really?
Yes, absolutely. I flew one in Harriet.
I knew you would have done that. You probably transferred across all of them up in the air or something, didn't you? I would
yes.
think so. Good. Thanks again, Arnie. Listen, we'll be right back at Silverstone.
Thank you.
Red Arrows above Silverstone. You're back with us. A superb day. 70,000 crowd inside without any apparent problem. We're starting down at the start of the Foster's British Grand Prix. BMW Williams coming here after successive 1-2s at the European and French Grand Prix. Friday belonged very much to Michael Schumacher. What is the state of play now? Ted Kravitz reporting.
It's been more than just a sentimental journey for Michael Schumacher this weekend. The world champion has a good chance of repeating last year's win thanks to the latest raft of improvements to his Ferrari. Let's take a look at a few in detail. A new front wing with curved end plate, more curves to the rear wing, and on this high-speed track where the car needs to be as aerodynamically slick as possible, a new front air deflector. The Bridgestone tyres are also more suited to Silverstone than at recent tracks. But it's Rubens Barrichello's Ferrari that's quickest so far. The team have sent him into the race with a little less fuel on board than Michael Schumacher. Technical director Ross Brawn admits that even without Michael's slide, he would have struggled with that heavier fuel load to beat his teammates' time.
I think it would have been top three. I don't think it would have been Rubens' time. They both had a good couple of days of testing, and I think they both got an opportunity to win.
Whether Ferrari will allow Rubens to win is another matter. In a championship as tight as this one, their focus must remain on point man Schumacher.
I think fifth position, if you have a good strategy, which we'll have to see tomorrow, can still be a reasonable situation for us.
An Achilles tendon injury to McLaren's Adrian Newey won't distract him from Raikkonen's race this afternoon, but both leading Michelin teams recognise Silverstone isn't perfect for them, and they'll be happy just to score solid points, knowing they'll be more competitive at upcoming races.
It's certainly still reasonably good because Michael is behind me, Raikkonen is just in front of me, so that's not a problem at all. We just try to score as many points as possible and then get to the next one.
But so far, Silverstone's been easy for Jarno Trulli. Front row of the grid, and on current form, he's sure he won't be holding anyone up today.
I got on top of many things in the last few races. I'm extremely competitive during the race. The car feels very consistent. We just hope that everything will work well and we'll have a free trouble race.
Phil, since winning I'm a Celebrity, you get to go to lots of these occasions now. So how does a weekend at Silverstone compare to other events on your professional Liggers calendar?
It's Liggers calendar. It's up there, mate. Oh, no, I've had a spanking time. It's been fantastic. Got down here Friday, and I think it's now Sunday.
It is.
Yes, it's been hard.
And nobody explained to you how important your passes are, because I believe you lost your pass.
I know. I lost the green one, which is meant to be a really posh one. I know. So I kind of always do things like that. But I've been very well looked after. I'm down here with Foster's, having a chat and I'm watching the race and looking forward to it.
Excellent. And when you're at these occasions, you know, you're watching it all, you've got to schmooze with all the sponsors, you've got to talk to the VIPs. Do you ever wish you were still competing yourself? Obviously not as a Formula One driver,
no,
but you wish you were still doing your thing.
You miss it a little bit, don't you? You know, you get up in the morning and think, I wish the old fingers start twitching. But it usually goes by about lunchtime, and then you just sort of enjoy yourself a little bit. No, it's been great. I'm having a ball.
Excellent. All right, we'll have a fantastic time.
Cheers.
Thanks a lot.
Which driver's really caught your eye so far this season?
Well, I would say I'm surprised at Ralph. If I hadn't actually been teammates with him, I know he's very quick. But I think that what has been interesting is how, again, Ralph has seemed to responded to a certain kick up the pants kind of approach, which Williams are good at. And I'm surprised that he's putting pressure on Montoya. You know, Montoya is my favourite driver. I think he's fantastic and he's very entertaining, always trying, and he's, you know, his own man and the rest of it. But he's getting a run for his money from Ralph. So I'd say Ralph is the surprise driver for me.
Thanks, Damon. Enjoy the race.
OK, I'm here now with Ellen MacArthur. Ellen, as someone who takes part in their sport in the middle of the ocean where nobody's watching, sometimes not even a crew, can you imagine being out there today in front of this crowd?
Well, seeing the crowd, you can imagine the nerves of the drivers. I mean, it must be very difficult. You're about to go off on a race, there's people everywhere, everyone's watching you, and I can kind of identify with that. But in many ways, this is a very similar sport to sailing in that there is still a team of people there, and even when you're out on the ocean in the middle of nowhere, there's a team working away really hard on the preparation of the boat and on problem solving.
And if anybody here...
You go, Ted, it's all yours.
Well, yes, Jim, you were talking earlier about the latest ructions in the Silverstone affair. So Jackie Burney briefed a couple of journalists earlier. He was saying time is really running out for Silverstone. They need to start putting this business plan for the next phase in process by August. Do you think time is running out for the track?
Well, if it is, I don't know what they're going to do with other tracks. This is as good a racetrack as we have right now, and it's improving all the time. It's ridiculous to compare this in a negative way to so many other tracks in the world. I don't know anything about the rumour, though.
If Burney isn't happy with the progress that the BRDC makes, can it be possible that it won't be on the calendar next year?
Well, I think the government have a lot to do with that, and they've got to make their mind up how they deal with it.
As we say, third phase is to build the new pit lane and the garages. Is that actually going to happen by the time we come back here next year?
I mean, frankly, the pit and garage areas are considerably better than an awful lot of other Grand Prix. I don't think that's the issue. I think it's a bigger picture than that.
And what about this business plan? What are you going to be putting to the Formula One management as to what you can do to improve Silverstone by the end of August?
It's not a question of us putting things to them. I mean, we're all partners together. It's the government, it's the East Midlands Development Agency, it's FOM, it's IPG, Octagon, and the BRDC. It's 4 groups. We're all together. It's not just one individual.
So briefly, Silverstone still safe for next year?
Well, I can't say that. It's the governing body who decide that. I have no idea.
Thank you very much, Sir Jackie.
A lot of letters there, and I think in many ways, gents, it just serves to add to the confusion for a lot of people watching. But are we talking, Tony, do you think, a bit of a personality clash here deep down between Bernie Ecclestone and Sir Jackie Stewart?
There's no secret that there's no love lost between Sir Jackie Stewart and Bernie Ecclestone, but I still believe that all the different areas of the partnership are pushing together to put a lot of pressure on to make sure that the final phase happens. The thing is, what we must remember, there's £5 billion worth of turnover amongst all the businesses, of motor racing businesses that employ 40,000 people all around this area. This race is their shop window. We lead the world in motor racing technology, not just the teams, engine manufacturer, etc. There'll be a lot of people say, you cannot stop this race.
And apart from all the politics, the drivers themselves, when they come here, there are very few of them, Mark, that go, I don't like this circuit at all, it's rubbish.
Very
around the world.
Very, very few indeed. You know, all the world-class drivers have been here. They all love this circuit. And Jackie Stewart, just need to get it straight. He represents the BRDC, the British Racing Drivers Club. They are only the landlords of the circuit. This circuit is operated by Interpublic Group / Octagon in the US. There's a lot of parties involved, and it's unclear what's going to happen for the future.
As I said to you, we will keep tabs on that story throughout the afternoon. A nice big crowd here, and in the crowd are two winners of our FedEx competition. We had a great response, by the way. Remember, we asked if Juan Pablo Montoya is from Argentina, from Brazil, or from Colombia. He is, of course, the bruiser from Bogota. Colombia's a top sportsman, and our winner, Zoe Mayo from London. Here she is with her boyfriend, Chris. And I think he did the honours and then had a natter to them, did Juan Pablo.
That's brilliant.
No problem.
Thank you very much. How are you feeling about the race?
Oh, good. I think, you know, it was a struggle yesterday in qualifying, but I think Michael and myself suffered quite a bit with the wind at the end. But it's going to be quite an interesting race today. It's going to be, you know, whoever is here, they're going to have a laugh today because it's going to be
Well, I
wild.
couldn't sleep, so how on earth do you sleep last night?
You couldn't sleep?
No, I was so excited.
I had a fine sleep, believe me. I do this every 2 weeks, so it's pretty normal.
It's a job.
Yeah. No, but it's fun. You know, it's a lot of fun. And the thing is, I've been racing all my life. So, you know, you just get here, drive the car, you know, have fun, go home.
He's always so wound up. The race 25 minutes away. Now we're going to join Mark Blundell behind the wheel of the Bentley Speed 8. He has been around Silverstone today.
Unbelievable experience. Come into Cops here, wonderful corner. The guys have got some great grip on the circuit at this point. The weather looks good. I think we're in for a great race. But one unbelievable experience. Driving this Le Mans 24-hour winning car. Nindo Capello, Tom Christensen, and the Brit Guy Smith pulled off a fantastic victory. I was in the sister car, second position. Hanger straight, he did about 195 miles an hour in a Grand Prix car. I'm taking it easy in this Le Mans car. It's done 24 hours, the last thing I need to do is damage it. Fantastic, crowds are out there, there's flags waving. Union Jacks everywhere. Big support for the crowd and the British guys. They're going to really enjoy this Sunday afternoon. Coming to Abbey Chicane. Me and Martin spoke about this. It's a tricky little part of the circuit. Change of direction needed, accelerate over the ground and downhill. It'll be 5th to 6th gear on a Grand Prix car. Not one hint of the lift on the throttle pedal. Awesome experience.
You never lose it.
I've still got it. I had it a month ago anyway at Le Mans, put it that way.
Yeah. Just to one or two people who might have had a little bit of problem hearing exactly what you were saying, what was it like going around?
That's fantastic. I mean, for me to come back again in front of a home Grand Prix crowd, the last time for me was 1995. And you just can't explain it in words. It's a marvellous experience. And the build-up now for these guys as they roll out on the grid, huge crowd here, huge support.
Yeah. Did you register any sort of time?
No, Jim, I didn't. That car's done 24 hours. You've got to mothball it and put it in a museum.
OK, well done, Mark. Anyway, well, it's a rare quiet period now for Lawrence Dallaglio, the England rugby union star. It's the World Cup in the autumn. That's a tournament, by the way, you can see only here on ITV. And Lawrence Dallaglio has been branching out to do his bit in the Jordan factory.
Wasps number 8 Lawrence Dallaglio will be a key member of the England squad when it travels down under once again for the Rugby World Cup in October.
Straight through the gap goes Wilkinson, and Dallaglio in for his second try of the game.
Again, wonderful confidence on the ball from England.
But Delalio's sporting passions aren't confined to ball games. A keen motorsport fan, he took time out from his training schedule to visit the Jordan factory at Silverstone.
It's a pretty busy time of year here at Jordan with the team's home race just around the corner. Now, you guys probably thought you'd come here just for a nice look around, but I'm going to get you to do some work whilst you're here. I've got here a lower left wishbone. This is one of around 2,500 different pieces that make up the EJ13. Probably quite familiar to you because you had a couple of failures with this earlier in the year, didn't you?
I had a small problem with it, but I've sorted it out.
Yeah, problem sorted now, but just to be on the safe side for this weekend for Silverstone, I'm going to get you to manufacture yourself a spare. You up for it?
Yep. Good.
OK, let's go. First up, the drawing office.
OK, so, Ralph, which bit are we actually making?
We're making this lower wishbone here, and as we remove some of the bits off the car, you'll see a little bit more intricately exactly where it's situated and how it's situated.
Well, it looks to me like it keeps the wheel on the car, so it's obviously quite important, that piece, don't you reckon? Ralph, it looks fairly simple on screen. How do we actually go about making this piece?
Okay, we've just pulled up the layup sheet, and this basically describes how much carbon to use and in which positions and where to start and stop the layers.
Actually, it doesn't look that simple at all, does it?
No, it doesn't actually. We've printed off the plan from the drawing office, and we've come down here, so you can see the square in the middle is all the individual parts required for making the front lower wishbone, and then it's squeezed onto one sheet of carbon, the most economical way to try and save money, and then it's all cut out in one single bit over here.
That's number one.
You have another number one.
Another number one. Right, we've got to keep these in order.
And about 15 number twos. Pile in here, Ralph, if you need some help.
Yeah, there's a lot of number twos. Got to make sure they're all good.
So this is where the layup process begins, but before you can actually make the wishbone out of carbon fibre, you first of all have to make it out of aluminium so that you can make a mould, and then the individual pieces of carbon fibre we've just cut out are laid in here in numerical order, starting with number one, so off you go.
Here goes. Peel it off. Let's try and get this off in one go. OK.
Well, there's only another 228 to go after this one, so I think we'll probably best leave it to the professionals judging by the job you're doing here. And then we'll head next door to look at the next step in the process.
There we go. Perfect.
Once all the carbon is in place in the mould, it's baked in an autoclave or industrial oven for 12 hours at around 135 degrees. The metal fixtures are then bonded onto the structure. Before the wishbone can be fitted to the car, it's proof tested and checked with ultrasound to ensure it meets all the structural requirements before being assigned a part number in the stores.
Well, here is the finished article. What do you reckon, Lawrence? You didn't do a bad job.
I'm quite impressed. The wishbone, we'll have to see if it stands up to 65-odd laps, but I think we did OK there.
Well, I don't know how to break this to you, but your laminating skills, we weren't quite sure about them, so we're not going to put it on the car for the moment.
No, we weren't happy with that. I should stick to something else, I think.
So what do you reckon to this event? It's the first time you've been here as a guest, isn't it? How does it compare to, say, Twickenham at an international game?
Oh, I think it's a fantastic day out today. I mean, for someone like myself, who's obviously used to being at big sporting events, this is one of the very, very top. It's a great day out. Thoroughly looking forward to it. And I've actually been here before, but when I was working as a little kid, I was in one of the hospitality tents, working behind the bar, pulling pints. But this is it for real. Very much, down in the pits. I'm very, very excited.
Well, today you're going to be living it up, drinking champagne. So enjoy your day.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
Yeah, he deserves a few days off before that World Cup coming up in the autumn. Just under 20 minutes to go to the start of the British Grand Prix at Silverstone. And, well, there's David Coulthard, Tony. Britain's main hope once again, having a chat to Ron Dennis, and I guess wondering just, well, how can I work my way up the grid from 12th place?
Yeah, look at pictures of Jacques Villeneuve with Jock Clear as engineer on the left there. He's in 9th place, and Coulthard is behind him as well. How he's just got to go for it. He says he's got to attack the race, and there's Delalio there, meeting some of the team members from Jordan. David's got to attack the race. He said that he has nothing to lose, really, does he, Mark?
He doesn't have anything to lose at all. I mean, I think that tactically they're going to try and do something a little bit different for him while he's out there on the circuit, try and produce a result for him come the end of it. But David's always solid in the race, doesn't make many mistakes at all, and I think he should be able to pick something up here.
There's Arnie's team, the Jaguars, and a little bit of a surprise that the Brazilian Pizzoni, who's had all sorts of flack this season, out-qualified this guy here, the Aussie Mark Webber.
I think that was a lot to do with a very late selection of the Michelin rubber. They had a bewildering variety of tyres to choose from. And I know Mark wasn't particularly pleased with that, but I think he'd be very strong in the race. Having said that, Pitsonia did it in the spare car as well, which was extra good. He's looking to save his ride. There's lots of rumours that he won't be driving for Jaguar next year, and someone else, possibly even Justin Wilson, could fill his place.
OK, we can hear from Mark Webber now. He's chatting to Ted Kravitz.
Well, Mark, it's kind of a second home race for you. I shouldn't say it to an Australian, really, but how's it going?
It is, yeah. I mean, this is a big race for us. Jaguar are, huge turnaround, and we've got a lot of vans out there which have been waiting for years for us to do well. And, we've had a strong season. It's unfortunate we haven't cracked a great weekend here. We're in a little bit of trouble, but we'll try and recover something from it. The guys have done an awesome job, and it's early days, so we've got some good races to come, hopefully, and obviously next year as well. So,
is that the reason that Antonio's that tiniest bit ahead of you on the grid?
Well, that's fair and square. That's the one that qualifying. I'm here, he's there, so fair enough. And it's something we've just got to chip away on for the race. Really, we're trying to get a better race balance, but won't be one of our strongest races, but we'll do our best.
Thanks, Mark.
That's corner. How does that feel?
Feels very good, especially because there is also a lot of support right there. So, no, it's good to be in the first row after Malaysia. I hope I'm going to use this chance today.
You seem very relaxed.
Yeah, I've learned quite a lot this year that you can really fight against, the bad luck. So I just carry on doing my job. I know I'm good. I know I'm talented. So I just keep relaxed, do my job, and try to do my best race.
You are good and talented, which is why I find it very surprising that you've only ever had one podium finish in your career. But you're really on it for another one today, aren't you, if all goes according to plan?
Every day I'm ready, just a matter of being ready, as you say, fit, be there, always on top as today, and then wait and see.
Go get him, Tiger.
Thank you.
Yeah, go get him. There's a feeling it could be a bit of a chicane up there. It could be a bit of a block, though, truly.
Well, he's always strong in qualifying to a certain degree, but his race is a little bit on the weak side. But, we'll have to see with Trudy. He's got a great opportunity on the front row.
You've got a bit of a history, Mark Blundell, with the pole sitter, with Rubens Barrichello.
With Ruby, yes. Actually, 95, when I was driving the ill-fated McLaren there, what Mansell discarded, we had a little bit of a coming together at Abbey. He tried to overtake me on the last lap, 2 corners from the end there, and run in the back of me, and I actually crossed the line for 5th position on 3 wheels. So, I managed to get it over the line.
Did you sort it out quietly afterwards?
Oh, we had a chat about it. Obviously, it's one of those deals. He thought it was my fault, and I thought it was his, but that's racing.
All right, we're going to go down on the grid. It's always a special time in our coverage. And there he is, Mark. On you go, Martin.
Thank you, Jim. Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Wonderful crowd here. This counts as a summer day, I guess, in England. Don't know what all this tosh is about losing this Grand Prix. Bit of mischief going on out there, but the good guys are going to win this one. We certainly can't afford to give this one up. We'll have a quick word with Patricia Hewitt, Secretary of State. Minister, you've announced some help for the British motorsport industry this week, and £16 million, that's a pretty good start.
It's pretty good, £16 million to invest in this absolutely world-class industry. What we're seeing on the grid here today is some of the best engineering in the world, along with unbelievable excitement.
It's good, isn't it? It's a wonderful feeling down there. What about the Grand Prix? There's been lots of speculation about that.
Well, I'm glad to say we've now got talks going on between all the parties involved, and we've got the East Midlands Development Agency on behalf of government all sitting down to work out a solution so that we don't just keep the Grand Prix in Britain, but we keep it here at Silverstone.
OK, that's great news. Congratulations on that, and thank you very much. Let me just have a quick word with Max Mosley. We should hear from Max. You up for a chat, Max? Lots of speculation about the British Grand Prix. What's the FIA's view on that?
Well, we're optimistic because we think something will get sorted out. There's so many people involved, but the BRDC and the owners of the circuit and the promoter of the race will sort something out, and then Bernie and the promoter. We're happy as long as it's safe and fair. We're happy.
There was some speculation Bernie's going to give an ultimatum in time-wise. Have you heard about that?
Well, I think Bernie wants to know what's happening, because if by any chance there were no deal between the BRDC and the promoter, Octagon, then that would call the Grand Prix into question, and I think he needs to know. But from our point of view, not being commercial, involved in the commercial things, we're keeping out of this a bit.
Well, I'm the chairman of the BRDC, as you know, but we have a deal with Octagon Interpublic.
I know, but the problem is that if the circuit doesn't get upgraded to the standard everybody wants, and Octagon decide they don't want to get involved anymore, they could just walk away, because their deal with Bernie is a Grand Prix, not necessarily here. But I don't want to speculate about that. For me, it's very important we have a British Grand Prix, preferably in Silverstone, and I rely on all the people concerned to sort something out, including the chairman of the BRDC.
Thank you, Max. We've got to work together. See you later. Let's see if we can find something slightly lighter to talk about. Here's a guy I've been so looking forward to meeting. Frankie, welcome to the grid. First time for you on the grid of a Grand Prix?
First time in my life, and I'm dying to get in that car. I mean, they got 900 horsepower in there. I only got one.
Yeah, exactly. But, you know, you're just about the right size as well to get in these things.
Yes, it's unbelievable. And you can smell the atmosphere growing, and the smell of the tyres and the engines. And I hope it's going to be a fantastic race.
Yeah, it must smell a whole lot better than the start of a horse race.
Yes, a little bit.
Well, compare this then with the feeling, because when you're starting a great horse race, I mean, you've got a wonderful crowd, but you're just together. You don't have to put up with people wandering around talking to you when you're in the stalls there, do you?
I must say, it's the last thing I want before the race, somebody shoving a microphone in front of my face. But these guys are true professionals, and I'm sure that this won't take their mind away from the job.
So who do you think is going to win today? It's not too difficult to work out that you're with the prancing horse.
The one and only, the black horse.
Okay, good to see you. Have a great day. Let me see if I can find Rubens Barrichello. He's talking to an extremely attractive young lady, so I've not got a prayer. No, you can let me in on this one. You're not live yet. There's two extremely young ladies. To an ugly one, like an ugly old teammate.
We are doing the question together. Rubens, how do you feel starting from pole position?
I'm feeling very good. I think the work yesterday was fun. I mean, people are saying that I had the better part of the track, but I don't mind. I had the pole position, so it's nice. I mean, my car is handling fantastic. I hope I can beat Jarno into the first corner, because it's always difficult, and then we see.
But will they let you beat Michael?
I think so, yeah. There's no problem. I mean, Michael is fifth. It's a long race for sure, but I have a very good car, and I choose a very good tire, so let's hope I can be there at the end.
Good luck, mate. See you later. He's a nice guy, and I'd love to see him win this Grand Prix today. Looks like our Brits are not far enough up the front at the moment. Who else can we find? Wonder if the Briatore is around just to see what he's got to say. He's got a car on the front row of the grid here, look. Flavio, a car on the front row of the grid. Can you win this race?
I don't know. It's important doing well in the first corner and see what happens.
Yeah, okay. So, I mean, you say you don't know, but you must have a feeling. Somebody must have told you, hey, Flavio, we can get the job done today.
Look like we are in good shape. The car is good. The tire is working. But, you know, we race it. We never know.
Okay, thank you for that. Yeah, good luck. We've got just a few seconds left. Just wander down to the McLaren team and see what is going on down here. See if there's any excitement, see if there's any drivers. Raikkonen is in the car. We got Schwarzenegger wandering down this side with an absolute army around him. And one quick word. I'm going to get berries here. And Bernie down here, goodbye. We'll see you later.
Thank you very much indeed to Martin. You can smell the atmosphere growing. The words of Frankie Dettori. We're all set. It is seconds away. The British quartet, including Justin Wilson, with it all to do. The British Grand Prix is next.
The race on ITV, sponsored by Toyota.